So, yeah, this is definitely a video. Welcome all you beautiful ladies and animals to a very, very special Christmas episode of Let's Throw Random Crap at Warhammer 40k and see how it goes. Now, the original idea of this video was to take good old Saint Nick and delve into how his undying goodness would make him an anathema to the chaos and depravity of the Grimdark universe, much the same as Ben 10 if you remember that video. But we've done that. We know what happens when you take the Grimdark out of Warhammer. We've been there and we've seen it already, a few times actually. Instead, what happens if you take this infallible, grand being of eternal goodness and make him Grimdark? Today, we answer that question. What does a Grimdark Santa Claus look like? Now grab some cocoa, pop some corn, and get a blanket. My dearest friends, for today, I spin you a tale to celebrate the holidays in a most grimdark fashion. In a long time before the galaxy was consumed by war and despair, there existed a man known as Saint Nicholas, a humble priest on the icy world of Terra. He devoted his life to the well-being of others, wandering from village to village, spreading joy and hope to the weary. His legend grew as he brought warmth to the cold and sustenance to the hungry, leaving behind gifts of food and toys for the children, a beacon of light in a world darkened by poverty and strife. He lived for many thousands of years, and in the far future, as the Imperium of Man rose, so too did Nicholas's influence. His kindness became a symbol of goodwill, inspiring millions during the Age of Strife, a time marked by suffering and chaos. Stories of his miraculous deeds spread across the planets, evolving into a mythic figure revered by many as the embodiment of generosity. People began to call him Santa Claus, a name that echoed through the ages, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, a flicker of hope could exist. But eventually, even the golden age of the Imperium was fleeting. As the Great Crusade sought to unite humanity under the Emperor's banner, the galaxy was plunged into conflict. The Horus heresy erupted as one of the Emperor's favored sons turned against him, igniting a civil war that tore the Imperium apart. In the chaos, the fabric of reality thinned, and the influence of the Chaos Gods seeped into every corner of the universe. Amidst the turmoil, the last vestiges of St. Nicholas's spirit clashed with the creeping dread of despair. He witnessed the suffering wrought by betrayal, loss, and violence. The stories he once inspired became twisted, reflecting the pain of those who would follow in his path. The darkness hung heavy in the air, suffocating the joy he once brought. The whispers of the warp grew louder, tugging at the edges of his consciousness, promising power and the ability to mend the shattered souls around him. Desperate to save the innocence he cherished, Nicholas sought the source of the corruption that plagued humanity. This quest led him to the heart of the Horus heresy, where he encountered the dark powers of chaos. In his fervor, he believed he could harness the malevolence to fight back against the impending doom. However, the Chaos Gods are cunning and merciless, and they seized upon his desperation. They twisted his essence, corrupting his noble intentions into something dark and terrifying. In that moment, Nicholas was no longer the kind-hearted man who wandered the frozen streets, but now a vessel of chaos. His heart, once filled with hope and love, now burned with the dark flames of despair. Thus, the Red Saint was born, a figure who would traverse the galaxy not to deliver joy, but to spread a grim lesson, a stark reminder of the price of hope in a universe devoid of mercy. As the Red Saint, he became an ominous presence in the galaxy, manifesting on war-torn worlds where suffering was rife. His gifts morphed from toys and treats into twisted relics, reflecting the deepest fears and sorrows of those who would receive them. Each item bore a curse, a dark lesson to remind the galaxy of its fragility. The laughter of children became echoes of despair, and the spirit of giving warped into an instrument of suffering. Now, with his ghostly sleigh pulled by the skeletal reindeer of despair, the Red Saint glides silently through the stars, a harbinger of dark prophecies and grim tidings. His laugh, once a joyful sound, became a haunting chime that heralded chaos and doom. He is both a reminder of what once was, a figure of joy, and a manifestation of the darkness that has since consumed the galaxy. Through the ages, he wanders the universe, eternally bound to his grim destiny, teaching all that even the most benevolent can fall to darkness, and that hope can transform into the greatest horror of all. In this way, the Red Saint embodies the twisted irony of the grimdark future, a poignant symbol of despair amidst an eternity of foul tidings. There is more to the saint than legend, however, for he glides through the night sky, an omen of destruction to the worlds that he graces. Within his grasp is a host of horrors, waiting to be unleashed upon the galaxy. The creature described to you now is an amalgamation of dozens of imperial records over the eons, as few have encountered the saint and survived, but those who have are riddled with horrors to tell. The Red Saint is said to be a towering, spectral figure clad in crimson and shadow. His robes are tattered, blending into the darkness around him, and his face is hidden behind a soot-stained hood. Chains, remnants of the past deliveries, hang from his cloak, each one adorned with tarnished bells that emit a hollow, foreboding chime as he moves. His eyes, glowing embers in the darkness, reflect a piercing, sorrowful witness to the galaxy's bleakness. In reports, the Red Saint is a warp entity who can traverse reality like a demon, appearing without warning on any battlefield, in the heart of fortress worlds, or even aboard spacefaring vessels. His arrival is usually presaged by visions of red and black cloaked in a mist, and a haunting chime that only the most sensitive psychers can hear. He can gift walk, a warped teleportation that lets him slip through dimensions in order to deliver his dark tokens, slipping past even the keenest sensors and psychic wards. His infamous sack has become an endless sentient void containing relics of twisted fates. From this grim receptacle, he draws items tailored to torment those who receive them, cursed weapons that feed on a warrior's soul, demanding bloodshed in repayment for torment, relics imbued with despair, or even artifacts from a recipient's past, a foreboding wedding band, or perhaps a blood-stained cradle. The items are not gifts in any traditional sense, but are often catalysts for suffering, corruption, or temptation, leaving the recipient in debt to the Red Saint's sinister will. Rather than spreading joy, the Red Saint leaves each individual with a haunting vision of what they've lost or what they could lose. With a single touch, he fills even the most hardened warrior with a powerful memory of an alternate reality, where they see loved ones, past glories, or peaceful futures that can never be. These memories become obsessions, driving them to desperation or madness as they chase after an ideal that was never real. The Red Saint's reindeer are enormous skeletal constructs powered by the warp, pulling a horrifying sleigh. Adorned by 1,000 blades that glides through space, these reindeer with rusted antlers and exposed bones are each named after a facet of horror or despair. Malice, spite, agony, woe, ruin, torment, dread, rot, and the one with the glowing nose, the Wither, one said to lead this horrid sleigh through the dreaded realms of the warp, and for those who look upon its shine in the unknowable bounds of the immaterial are driven mad. To look upon the Wither's shining light is to see all of the galaxy's torments in a single moment. They are demonically enhanced beasts able to project fear into the hearts of anyone who sees them, and leave a wake of warp-tainted energy wherever they travel. His gilded bells, forged from soul steel and bound with the cries of the damned, emit a haunting sound that causes dread and hallucinations. When his chimes ring, they can induce feelings of isolation, hopelessness, or self-loathing in those that hear them. weakening morale and spreading chaos. Even the most stalwart space marines find themselves haunted by memories of comrades lost or sacrifices made in vain when exposed to the sound. Stories have spread far and wide of entire hive worlds, bulwarks of mankind falling overnight by the carol of these bells, whose tormenting rings will sing upon the split crimson of humanity until the stars are no more. In effect, only bolstered after the great rift in the sky opened up. The endless nights, in flurry of snow dragged behind the immortal sleigh, growing to unfathomable power as the chaos that wreaks havoc across the galaxy empowers this fallen saint. For the many worlds, castes, and factions in the grimdark future, the Red Saint is a curiosity, an omen of despair, or even a callous torture. Even though Nicholas was born in the First Age on Terra, his punishments are not doled out exclusively to mankind, picking fights and issues against all manner of creature and beast across the milk-drop stars. For the last leg of our tale, let us see how he respects the boundaries of borders in the heaps of Xenos across the night sky. The Red Saint is an object of horror and a reluctant fascination in the Imperium. Some inquisitors whisper of Saint Nicholas the Fallen, a heretical figure who delivers dark prophecies and leaves corrupted relics in his wake. His appearances on Imperial worlds are often treated as omens, leading to planetary quarantines and mass purges. The ecclesiarchy regards him as a sign of mankind's fallings, condemning his appearances as a punishment for lack of faith. For the Mechanicus, the Red Saint is both a marvel and an abomination, embodying forbidden technologies they cannot control, of man's hubris gone amok. Very few even know of his origins among Terra. The brothers, sons of the Emperor, might remember him in spirit, but he was a recluse before becoming an angel of destruction. Even now, the Red Saint is almost entirely unrecognizable from the red hat he once wore. Entire worlds of the Imperium are driven to madness by the tolling of the bells. Angels of death, the Astartes, are plagued by a grave sickness, unable to take up arms against an entity which feeds on their wretched humanity. And even those that do not falter in the face of corruption are ripped limb from limb by the foul steeds of the Red Chariot. As with other cults of chaos, some in the Imperium have taken to celebrate a day old records have read as the Red Birth. A day that was supposedly the birth of this demonic saint. They give the gift of despair upon one another, plunging entire worlds into a bloody sacrifice in hopes that doing a great evil upon their own will sate the appetite for this demon who visits each and every home, seeking for the milk of humanity to feast upon. Whether or not these rituals are effective in keeping the saint at bay, or if they only serve to plunge humanity into a night of depravity to no gain, the stars themselves guard the truth. The Chaos Gods themselves regard the Red Saint as a powerful rogue ally. Nurgle and Tzeentch, in particular, appreciate his ability to spread fear, dread, and disillusionment, often allowing him to operate in chaos-tainted regions. The meticulous planning, taking names, checking them twice, these especially are beloved by Tzeentch. For Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure, loves the Saint's nourishment, stealing the milk blood of humanity for himself. For Khorne, however, the Red Saint is a nuisance, spreading sorrow rather than straightforward slaughter. Traitor legions of the Astartes might seek out his gifts, but they quickly learn that they come at unpredictable and often ruinous costs. Some, like the Black Legion, follow just behind, hoping to catch the saint as he plagues different worlds, but only ever arrive to witness the aftermath. The Word-Bearers regard him as a dark prophetic figure sent to punish the weak and faithless. Those of the Night Lords, heretics hiding in the shadows, thirst for such a powerful instrument of fear, hoping that one day they may be able to wield the bells themselves. The craft world Eldar would perceive the Red Saint as an enigma, wary of his twisted gifts, but sometimes seeking his knowledge, especially for prophecies of doom. The Harlequins in particular might view him as a tragic figure whose role in the galaxy's endless suffering is to mock those who seek peace. In their dances, they would represent him as a figure of inevitable, ironic misfortune. The Red Saint's interactions with the Necrons are rare and tense. Cryptecs view him as a cosmic nuisance, a warped remnant of humanity's mythos that somehow persists despite their attempts to capture or destroy him. The Silent King, however, sees the Red Saint as just a curiosity, pondering if he represents a potential tool or a weapon against chaos, an element from within. And while he cannot pour sorrow or solitude into the soulless husks of Necrodermis, the Red Saint is sure to deal staggering blows against Necrons where he can, continuing to act as a thorn in their side, if nothing else. A grimace unlike none other. The orcs find the Red Saint confusing, but oddly exciting. They call him the Big Red Git, and relish tales of his arrival even if his gifts are cursed or destructive. Sometimes his appearances inspire massive wahs, as orcs believe their year-end brawls and loot fests are celebrations that call him down. They enjoy his presence for the mayhem it brings, even if it means waking up with new, inexplicable curses. At the end of the year, if not currently in the midst of a wah, the orcs will flood the skies of their worlds with asbestos, as it is readily available and looks the most like ashy snow that is summoned by the saint's appearance. They brawl in the streets, delivering bombs disguised as presents to one another, bashing and crumping one another in hopes of the saint's arrival. While for any other amongst the stars to look upon the saint is said to riddle the victim with fear, the wretched minds of the orcs see joy. A gleeful wrangling of festivities awaits. Why shy away from the fun? Due to this, it has been noted in a very rare number of Imperial reports that the Red Saint will even avoid orcish realms. Perhaps they are simply not his target audience. Or perhaps the joyful cheers of the greenskins that can be heard a planet away, a thundering applause summoned by his presence, is enough to perturb the demonic saint of gifts. The Tau regard him with skepticism, thinking him a primitive legend used by other species to instill fear. However, when he appears on Tau worlds, he leaves behind gifts that gradually corrupt the greater good's followers, filling them with doubts and isolation. The Tau, baffled by this phenomenon, consider it a psychological threat and begin monitoring citizens who have claimed to have seen him. Those who have been within earshot of the bells are taken away for monitoring, but are conveniently never seen again. Alas, this is all to be said for the Red Saint who patrols the endless skies of the Grimdark future. When worlds go mad at the ringing of the bells, or when orcs get rowdy at the prospect of violent gifts, the tale of St. Nicholas, the Santa Claus, who became the Red Saint. Now, yes, if you're familiar, 40k already has its parody of the Santa Claus character in the Fanty Claus, a series of mutants on Necromunda who were beaten down so bad by Rogel Dorn that they kill loners and fashion their own gear into gifts in order to pay their penance. But I wanted to do something unique, something special for this video instead. So I hope you enjoyed this little adventure. If you'd like, leave your own little tale of the Red Saint in the comments below. What he may do, how he may act. Myths are a collaborative effort made between us all, so feel free to take this and run with it. And on a different note, I'm also not doing any more videos for the rest of this year. Ever since April, when we crossed 1,000 subscribers, I've been making one video a week, if not more, as well as trying to keep up with the streams. But for the month of December, I'm taking off for the holidays. In the last year or so that I've been making videos on this channel, the community on Discord and everything else has done so well, I am beyond grateful in a way I could never truly express. I am so honored to be able to do this and have so many people watch and enjoy the things that I make. Now, it's not all sour. I'll be streaming every weekend, and I'll be putting out some other videos, whether it's a highlight from a stream, or if I just really feel like making something. And more supercuts like the Destiny v40k one will be coming to keep you sated. Don't worry. Then in 2025, we start fresh with new videos. Trust me, I already have a lot of plans, and I can't wait to get into them. But the main goal is just to take a step back and have a breather so I can worry about the busy holiday schedule at my big boy job and spending time with my fiance and daughter instead of forcing myself to stay on track, at least for just a few weeks. But with that, we're at the end. thank you very much for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe, share, and like the video. If you want to support what I do here on YouTube, become a member or a patron and get access to every single video up to a week early, with some extra bonuses like being able to read my scripts and some other behind-the-scenes content. And like always, if you want to support me in helping a good cause, pick up something from my merch collections linked below. Whether it's a shirt, jacket, apron, or a mug, each and every dime from sales are being donated directly to my local food bank. So get yourself an awesome, super soft piece of clothing while doing something good at the same time. As always, stay cool, have fun, and be awesome. Buster out.